Jail, not a flattering place to be no matter where you are in the world, especially not in a third world country like the motherland. There's literally no experience worse than jail in Ghana. It's like hell and Ghanaian jail. Hell, jail. It's that bad. It's overcrowded, probably stinky, among a lot of deplorable conditions. You do not want to be in a Ghanaian jail. So imagine you wake up one day, you go visit your parents, and you decide, God has done so much for me. I have a job, I have some kids, and life is going well. So this Sunday, I'm going to go to church and praise the Lord. But unbeknownst to you, going to church on that Sunday would be the last thing you would ever do with your free will for over 2 decades. Once you step your foot into that church, you are not going to leave a free man. This is not a work of fiction. This is something which actually happened to this man known as Yaw Asante Agyekum. Yaw Asante, before his life got turned upside down, was just like any other Ghanaian. You wake up, you focus on the hustle, you grind very hard, eat, sleep, repeat. That's all we know. He was a mechanic who owned his own auto shop in Accra. But while doing his honest work and trying his best to keep his nose clean, fate had bigger and very unpleasant plans for him. While out there at his workplace doing his work innocently, he would meet the man who was going to change everything forever. The man who was going to cost him almost 30 years in prison. But how was he to know? In the service business, you always meet different people. Multiple people from several backgrounds shuffle in and out of your shop. You never know who you are dealing with or what it is that they actually do for a living. You are never thinking, does this person actually own all these bags they keep bringing to my shop? That thought may cross your mind, but it would never occur to you to investigate that person. It's simply not in your job description. And that right there was what cost Yaw Asante 20 years of his life. So among the many people that come into his shop daily walked an unassuming taxi driver. According to Yaw Asante himself, this man would bring cars and motorbikes to the shop for servicing. Every bolt he tightened and every belt he realigned was inadvertently causing crimes and robbery across Accra. The taxi driver he was dealing with was none other than one of the most notorious criminals in Ghanaian history, Ataa Ayi. This guy was a criminal mastermind and arguably one of the biggest names in Ghanaian pop culture. His name became synonymous with stealing. So growing up, if anybody stole anything, they would be termed Ataa Ayi. You didn't need to know who he was to understand what his name implied. He was that big. According to multiple sources, he and his gang were known to rob people in buses and hijack vehicles on the street. They were playing real life GTA. In one instance, it was reported that Ataa Ayi and his gang had monitored a reverend minister who had gone to the bank to withdraw some money. They trailed the man, following him closely until he got to the church premises, at which point these guys put out their weapons and absconded with 6 million old Ghana cedis, which was a lot of money back then. We heard so many stories about this man growing up, including one where he apparently robbed a bank and evaded the police while driving backwards. He was a master thief and a very good driver. If this was a proper country, Fast and Furious would not be as popular as it is because the story potential here. Who's Dominic Toretto when there's Ataa Ayi? Stop playing. There were other rumors that he had magical powers. He had some juju, charms capable of protecting him against gunfire. He is the quintessential character when it comes to crimes in Ghana. But during that time, since he hadn't been caught yet, not many people knew what he looked like. Not even the police. So it was very unfortunate for Yaw Asante that he was the one mechanic in the whole Accra Ataa Ayi ended up working with. So our guy kept working on what could possibly be stolen vehicles. And that was his connection to Ataa Ayi. But without any context, just looking at this situation from the outsider's perspective, it looks like a thief who steals from people, takes it to his mechanic who works on these vehicles, and then gives them back to be sold. It's not very hard to come to that conclusion. And that was exactly what the police thought when they finally became aware of the connection between Ataa Ayi and Yaw Asante. Once they had the hunch, they started pursuing him, leading them to his mother's hometown in Crew, where he was visiting. Like I explained earlier, this man was in church when 2 police officers sat on either side of Yaw Asante. And according to him, before the police officers arrested him, they asked him if his name was Akbar the mechanic. which apparently was his nickname, and he responded, "Yes, I am." And these people said, "We heard you are really good at your job." And this man ignorantly said, "Yes, I am." And shortly after, he was in cuffs being led to the police station. And the crazy thing about his story was he wasn't even given the civility to sit in the car. They cuffed him and had him walk in front of their car from Mpraeso to Nkoko. That is pretty far. Why would they do this, you might ask? Apparently, the police thought that Yaw Asante was their main suspect, Ataa Ayi himself. So it was kind of a humiliation ritual where they would walk him to the town, showing him to the people of the world that they had caught the notorious Ataa Ayi. His auntie and sister were also arrested and had to be in prison for a month, all for a crime they had no idea about. So just like that, it was all over. He would be sentenced to 35 years in prison in December 2002 for conspiracy to commit robbery. For years, lawyers pursued his case, trying to get him out of jail to no avail. But fortunately for him, in June 2025, they managed to get him out of jail 4 years early. He served 23 years of his total sentence for a crime he did not commit. Isn't that crazy? Before he was arrested, he had 2 kids, a 2-year-old boy and a 1-month-old girl. Now his kids are all grown up. One of his baby mothers died. The world around him has changed drastically, and he now has to reintegrate into it and try to live a normal life. His only crime was ignorantly working for a criminal. But I don't know, does that responsibility fall to service workers? Do we now need to perform background checks on everybody we come into contact with? That responsibility cannot possibly fall on our shoulders. This was a very clear failure in the part of our judicial system. The justice system failed this man. Nobody deserves what he had to go through. Whatever their excuses, an innocent man spent over 20 years in prison. This is time he will never be able to make up for. It's gone. Poof. And the scary part is, it could happen to anybody. It could happen to you. It could happen to me. But God forbid it happens to any of us. I don't even know how to close this video. Because for all you know, your new customer, a friend, or someone you just met is a big time criminal who's being pursued by the police. And everything you guys may be doing now could put you in some very serious issues. So I'd like to know what you guys think in the comment. Do you think Yaw Asante could have done anything differently? Should he have done more? What could he possibly have done? I don't know, but maybe you do. With that said, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Remember to like the video and share. Thank you for watching, and I will see you another time. Bye bye. Don't do crimes.